Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Last Stand Gamers, and welcome. So we're back, as requested by you guys, to play a little bit more War Thunder, and I took up your challenge of trying to play as the Germans, and I managed to get up to the Panzer series of tanks, a few assault guns as well, some Stugs, and some Jagdpanzers, and I will say you were right. Playing these tanks is absolutely near impossible when you've been playing the Russians for so long, so I really spent a bit of time trying to get used to how they control and where to penetrate different tanks. So as you can see here, I've learnt the weak spots of that enemy tank, and it allows me to eliminate them very fast. But I still ran into situations like this where I came across the Tiger tank and my tank was just simply not capable of eliminating it very effectively, even though I knew one small weak shot that it had in its sort of crew coupe at the top, where the turret and the commander are looking out of, spraying a few sparks down into the turret, but it did me not very good at all, and as you can see here, I got eliminated. But proceeding on, I learned this tank a little bit more, and I learned a little bit of a tactic to do with reversing it to get them to bounce shells off the front, and I'll go into that a little bit more detailed later on. But what I'm doing here is slicing the pie and trying to get my eyes on that Panzer tank. The first shot bounced, but I'm going to try again with a second one right through his driver's hatch and into the rest. As you can see, penetrated the lower area and it's took out the driver himself, eliminating the tank from the game. Now, as I continue to slice the pie, I come across another Panzer tank, and the first shot I try to get in on all these tanks is to eliminate the gunner, because something I learned from this tank, since it's got paper-like armor at the front and it's very easy to work out where to shoot through, it means that you can't let them get that first shot off. The first one's always got to be there to disable the actual gunner themselves. Then you can move in with the second shot to take out the rest of the crew and destroy the tank. So we've got the Panzer up there that's had its crew disabled, and we're going to go in for the finishing blow on it. And there we go, we're wiping all the crew out inside. Absolutely perfect. Now as we edge around, we bump into a KV-1. Now these have really good front armor, but there's a little bit of a niche in the turret there, and I spray shrapnel all over the crew inside and get a cheeky ram from the Sherman behind me that allows me to fail this second shot. But I'm going to continue moving on, and we're going to try to get in some flanking positions. Now this was really scary. Our team started to get pushed back by two KV tanks. Now KV tanks are literally one-shot kills, so as I fire through them I can eliminate them in one shot, but the same thing they can do with me and pretty much any tank. One of them large shells goes into you and you are dead. So here's the second KV-2, another one through its ammo rack at the back, eliminating them both from the game. Now I proceeded around the corner and we're exploiting this push up, and we're starting to take out tanks from the weak spots, once again going for them gunners first so they can't get that second shot on me. Now I found this really cool, just messing around with these German tanks once I'd learned how to use them, because at first I just kept getting taken out by everything. Now I started to get rushed here by one of these Sherman tanks with a Russian sort of premium, and I thought he had the drop on me here, but I started to reverse, tilting my armor as I did to bounce them necessary rounds, and I'm going to go for a shot through his driver and the floor below, so hopefully hit one of his lower ammo racks, and it luckily was successful. So one of the next things I discovered with the German low tier sort of tanks was that they had a very good ability to sort of ambush enemy tanks in these strategic positions. If they couldn't get the shot on you and you could get that first shot, it means you can eliminate. Now I wanted to pay attention to that little tank there that I took the driver's head off with, because we're going to see him very shortly once again being towed behind a KV tank. So you can see him there, and I just felt too bad for that guy. I didn't even want to shoot him once I had reloaded, and just like the sort of comedy sketch, he disappears out of view behind a rock. And I have another little shot at the KV that was towing him. So continuing on a little bit later into some of the games, this was a straight 1v1, once again eliminating the guy from the turret, taking out the turret ring and the crew that are manning it. And then the second shot is going to go straight into the ammo rack and blow off the turret. Well, you can only hope, and there we go. Absolutely perfect. So it was a real challenge playing these German tanks, because they didn't play like the Russian armor, because it was very simple just to tweak the Russian tanks. So you just do a little bit of a slight armor adjustment and people were bouncing off it left, right and center. With these you had to move and pop out of cover and just really use a lot of them tactics. So now I'm coming up into a flanking position on A to try to eliminate some of them threats from behind. We've got a KV, we're going to go through the weakness in the turret ring again, eliminating all the crew, allowing us to get some free shots on him here as he tries to reload. But I can see a KV-2 in the background, so we're going to go for a rear ammo rack once again, and it was a successful kill. Very smooth indeed. Now we're going to go back to the KV and try to eliminate him. And there we go, we're going to put a shot on, but I think it just clears the top of his turret, probably by inches. We're going to do a little bit of armor adjustment so we can down some of them shots if anyone comes out the spawn. And now we've eliminated him from the play. Now we need to push with the rest of our team onto the A point and secure the area. So we've got one last threat. We're going to eliminate him by putting a shot through the turret once again. And we need to get them gunners out of there, because one shot from pretty much any tank will eliminate one of these Panzers. So we get a second shot. No dice though, we're not penetrating into that turret. So we're going to move on to the next clip anyway. This is a little bit of urban fighting, and I tried to use this tank as much as I could to flank like I would with the T-34-85 that I'm actually shooting at here. And it went well, but the biggest downfall was its speed. It couldn't get out of them tricky situations with the heavy tanks. I had to start implementing quite a cheeky tactic. So these tanks have like a very interesting sloped armor design on the side, probably to bounce shots when you're actually facing them head on, but by reversing at the right time like this, it means that they've got maximum chance of bouncing that shell. So I just managed to bounce a shot off a Tiger before I got out of there without taking any damage at all. And I implemented this tactic through a lot more of my gameplay, and I'll show you another bounce coming up shortly. Now as I moved around here, I'm looking for weaknesses in their lines that I can exploit, get a few side armor shots and cheap ones to the rear without them expecting it, and that's just what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to spot a Sherman on the opposite bank, just passing through a market area. I'm going to put one shot right through the side there, and we eliminate his gunning crew. Perfect. Now we just need to eliminate the tank itself. We'll go for a much more damaging area, hit an ammo rack and explode that thing to pieces. Now this is a perfect spot. The enemy can't see me, and I'm going to be able to get the drop on them before they can see me back. So there's two viewpoints there. We managed to spot T-34-85. Going to take its turret out once again, eliminate his gunning crew, trying to get into the ammo rack as well. And now I get a little bit greedy here. I decided to go for another turret wipe on this, but it reverses, so I missed the shot. Now he's turning that turret towards me, and since I reversed once again using that little bit of a tactic with the angled armor, he bounces another shot, causing me no damage. Now I'm not going to pop out there because there's two tanks going to be watching. I'm going to go for a little cheeky shot on the T-34-85 and then just back out of there and move to another location. Now the amount of time it actually takes me to reverse here gives the T-34 ample time to get out of there, but the route he chooses is quite surprising. He decides just to go parallel with me along the coastline of the opposite bank. So we're going to reverse up here, and we should be able to get that simple drop on him we need. So if we're right, he should be driving right along the canal, and here he is. It's going to pop out any second. I just feel it. Okay, there he is. We've spotted him. Now we're going to take another side armor. We don't want to stop him now. Why is he in this weak position? We need to try to go for engine shots, but I went for another crew compartment shot to try to eliminate his actual crew from moving. But at this moment I'm trying to go for the elimination, but he gets an assist. Now this was probably one of the most intense gaming clips that I've had in War Thunder at the moment. I am coming up against the KV-2, also known as the Derp cannon of death. Literally one shot from that thing can kill you, and he's reloading at the moment, so I've got a little bit of time to get in there, get them shots down. You can see that this bomb's coming in from an allied bomber, and I decide that the only way I'm going to be able to get this guy is do the unexpected, go into the river and come up from behind. If he gets that drop on me, that one shot from his cannon is going to eliminate me almost instantly, where it might take me 3 or 4 shots to do the job. So we're going to drop down into the riverbank. Now since his turret is so tall, I could almost guarantee that it wouldn't have came under the bridge. Like you can see, almost, I barely fit under here. But I've noticed the KV's actually managed to come out the bank on the other side, so I'm stuck down here in a position where he can simply drop down on top of me and put that massive Derp cannon on my position. And to make it even worse, he's got 2 massive eyes on the turret to really signify the Derp. Hit a shot, it just bounces. I'm going to try to get really tight up against this rock so he can't get me with the blast wave, his high explosive shell. And now a cheeky tank is starting to roll up from me on behind. Now I don't realise this at the moment, and then suddenly I spot it on the map. Just at the moment he spots me, so I'm going to have to spin this thing around extremely fast to get a shot on it. Now he's trying to get a better angle, and now the Sherman pops up on the left, spin the Stuck around and fire one straight through his weaker lower armor, penetrating into the crew compartment and eliminating him. Now I was really excited at this point. I was really scared because I was reloading. I know that guy wants to get me with all his might. He's got them scary beady eyes that are trying to chase down on me, but luckily he's neglecting that the rest of my team are actually out there, and for the moment he tries to go for one of them that's actually putting accurate fire on his position, and I managed to get that shot into the compartment that I want to disable his loader. Now he's going to have a massive penalty on the reload time. It's almost a massive reload as it is, and he decides to actually try to get out of there over the bridge above me by firing a massive shell. So that was his last shell now before he reloads. Luckily I was under the bridge, and I thought he was going to try to drop down on top of me, so I spin the tank around once again, and I'm trying to get a shot into his ammo rack at the back. But this is what really surprised me. I fired the shot into the ammo rack like so, and if you notice on the little screen, there was no ammo in the actual racks themselves, so he's either expensed it all or something strange was going on there. But anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.